In September 2023, Microsoft has released Autogen. Autogen is probably one of the most exciting pieces I have seen since the ChatGPT got released almost a year ago. So what is Autogen? Autogen is an AI framework, just like LangChain, but specialized with multiple agents conversation. Imagine you can create an app with multiple AI bots with different roles and responsibilities, and they will work with each other tirelessly without human intervention until it reaches the final goal you have set them to achieve. So the best way to describe it is think about AutoGPT or Baby AGI, which came out a few months ago. It's autonomous agents working towards a final goal. This is a bit like that, but now you can do it yourself with much more flexibility and a lot of tools. It's very easy to get started with. So let's take a look. To use Autogen, it is recommended to have a virtual environment or even better with a Docker. Today, we only going to look at examples that Microsoft provided, so we don't need to do that. All we need is to install the library by Autogen. So let's take a look at examples. These are all the examples Microsoft have uploaded to GitHub, which demonstrate capabilities of Autogen. I have gone through them all and handpicked a couple which I think is a good example to showcase its capabilities. So let's click on this solving tasks requiring web information, which means the agent can actually go out to the internet and get the latest information. So click on open in Colab. Make sure you already have Colab with your Google account. So this one, Autogen offers conversational agents powered by LLM. And these are just basic introduction and tells you in this notebook we'll have assistant agent and user proxy agent. Now this will be same for every example here. Basically this is how the Autogen works. You will have AI robots doing the task for you, which is assistant agent, and you can have as many as you want. And user proxy agent, which is a representative of human, which is you. Now in this example, we will discuss a paper based on this URL, which means it will go out to the internet and grab the paper. And also a second example is to discuss a stock market. So let's follow the code. And the first thing we want to do is get your environment variable ready for the OpenAI. So this is how it works. It first looks at the environment variable OAI config list. It needs to be a JSON string. And this is what the JSON string should look like. That's where your key should go. Okay, so first, let's create a file under your current session. Let's call it OAI underscore config underscore list. Now remember, do not do a .json in this file, because if you did that, this app will not find it. I have tried that, so just keep that in mind. Now let's open this file. So it finally opened, and I have put my two models in, GPT-4 and GPT 3.5 Turbo 16K. And the reason I put 16K is in the example they have a lot of large models. Now I delete here. But yeah, the large models, and if you don't have 16K, some of the operation might not run because it will hit the token limit. Okay, so back in here, we just need to remove the filter, just modify to your models to match your models. And OpenAI key is the same for both models, right? Okay, so let's start from the beginning by install the Autogen library and also Docker. Next, let's go through the code while we're waiting. So this is the model configuration. I removed the model that I don't have in this filter dictionary. So pretty much this config list it will load all the models you have in the list, which is here, this one here. And next, it comes to the LM config. It put a timeout so it won't go on forever between the agents. Seed 42, this is default value. What is seed? Seed is a cache. And this cache, what it does is when the user is asking similar questions that will give you the same result, it will not go through the agent to work it out again. It will just go through the cache and give you the response quickly and also save you some money. Temperature 0 is we want a precise, less innovative response from the AI, so that's why I put it 0 instead of 1. Now, if we run this, let's run this. Moving on, this is the construction, agent construction, which will be the same for pretty much all the code. This is a standard. So pretty much you will have minimum 2 agents. One is called the assistant, which is the AI. Another is the user proxy agent, which is a human representative of yourself. The human input mode is called terminate. What does that mean? That means when the agent replies, terminate if the task has been solved at full satisfaction. Otherwise, reply continue, or the reasons why the task is not solved yet. So it will give you a prompt. When the agent thinks it has come to the end of the resolution, it will give you a prompt. This working directory is just something it will create. See, this one I ran before, it created a web. You can call it anything you want. So as the name, you can call it anything you want. Okay, so let's configure the agent, construct it, and here comes the actual task. To work with Autogen, you always start with user proxy initiate chat. That means human gonna initiate a chat. And the actual task is between these two triple double quote. Who should read this paper? Now just have a look what this paper is. If we copy that into our browser, it is an article about Autogen itself, enable next-gen LM applications. So back to the code, let's run it. Let's clear this here and run it, see what it says. So first, the user proxy says to the AI agent, which is the assistant, who should read this paper, posting the URL. And the AI assistant replied, to determine who should read the paper, we can have a look at the title, abstract, keywords of the paper. However, unable to direct access the content of the paper. So basically, the AI says, I cannot access the internet. So it has given all these reasons. Back to the user agent, user proxy agent. What did the user proxy agent say to the AI? It just says continue. So apologize again. User proxy agent says continue again. So I think it might not actually give out the result. So it's keep repeating itself. Now while we're waiting for this to time out, let's have a look at the actual example with its response from the GitHub. So this one here is one we're running, but it already had the response, the output from the example. Let's just open it. So if we look at the example's output, who should read this paper? What it did is the assistant to the user proxy said to determine who read the paper. The first line is about the same, and then it used a Python script with a beautiful soup library to scrape the content. So actually, it has ability to do that, and it has given you a clear output of what the paper is about. It's about LLM, and then it has given the user proxy agent a final result. Given this, the paper will be interested of the following groups. So it's telling you who should read this paper: researchers, mathematicians, blah blah blah. So the example output was a success because they used a Python library to scrape the content. In our example, it is still going. It looks like it's still going. It is not able to do that. Now let's see whether we can prompt this AI agent, assistant, to use the beautiful soup. But first we need to wait for it to time out. Finally it timed out. So pretty much the system says to user proxy, apologize again. It's asking you to open the paper to read it yourself. So pretty much it's a failure. Now it's prompting us, the actual human, to intervene. So let's say, can you use beautiful soup library to scrape the content? So it comes to the end that the user proxy also had nothing to say, and finally asking for a human prompt intervention. Now we provide a prompt, says to them, now the user proxy is passing a message to the AI agent. Can you use the beautiful soup? Now what did it say? Okay, yes, I can help you with that. So it looks like it is going to use the beautiful soup library to scrape content, install the library, blah, blah, blah. So it just tells, so the AI assistant passing all this information back to the user proxy agent, tell you, hey, you can do all that. That way you can read the content. Let's keep reading what's happening now. Is it executing the code? Okay, looks like the beautiful soup has been installed. It hasn't done it. It just says it gives you the code. So the AI assistant has given this code to the user proxy agent. Now the user proxy agent to the assistant. Thank you for your guidance. Based on the title, it appears that the target audience for this paper could be researchers. Oh, so actually it did it. And then there's just a bunch of thank you again to each other. Thank you. Has a bit excessive thank you to each other. You will keep thank you until it times out. So I think there is a problem with the code. We need to find a way to, okay, find a timeout. And we can go exit. Okay. After this excessive thank you. Okay. So it looks like finally it ran. The code script title. So I think the user proxy agent was able to read the content and provide a end result. You can now analyze the title. Thank you. It appears that target audience of this paper could be researchers, practitioners, professionals in the field of NLP, machine learning, blah, blah. Okay, so this is the result we got from running our code. It is slightly different from the actual example. In this example, it gives you a abstract code output and also the actual suggestion who should read the file, the document, the report in this dot format. Much better. So, okay, but at least it ran. And we know with AI applications there's always unexpected result. Now let's take at the second example in the same code. And this time, we also start with initial chat, and the message is, show me the year-to-date gain of 10 largest technology company as of today. Now today is the 23rd of October. So let's run that and see what happens as of last Friday. So the code is running, and let's have a look at the output. To calculate the year-to-date gain of 10 largest technology companies, we need historical, blah, blah, blah. We can use Yahoo Finance Library in the Python to fetch the data. Now, it knows that we don't have the Yahoo Finance installed. So it spits out the code to install Yahoo Finance and Pandas. 10 largest technology company, it knows these are the ones they're looking at. And looks like it's doing things. Okay, I'm not gonna fact check these figures, but it looks pretty good if you're using Yahoo Finance. So it has listed up all these stock symbols with the year to date. It sounds right. Nvidia had the biggest gain, and PayPal is not doing so well. Assistant to the user proxy says, hey, the code executed successfully. And then seems like the user agent is happy about it. And then just a bunch of excessive thank you to each other until we know what's going to happen here. It's going to time out. Oh, it's already finished. And we just go exit. Great. Now, so far, it looks like it works pretty well. How about we take it to the next level? So let's see whether it can work with a YouTube content. Let's copy that to our new task. It's going to be a new task. And we'll change this message. Say, can you analyze the content of this video and give me a summarization. I can spell summarization. Give me a summary. And I'll paste a YouTube link here. So I've got a YouTube here, talk about the market. I'll put in there and see what happens. So based on our previous experience, we know this AI agent is probably going to give you the same answer, that it cannot access the content. And unfortunately, without any specification, it's difficult. And then the user proxy just say to the AI agent, say, continue. And look, it had worked out something by itself. To use YouTube data API, you will need to obtain API key from Google Cloud Console. Oh, wow. So for those of you who watched my other videos in the past, you see we've doing a summarization with YouTube video with Whisper APIs. And I was gonna suggest AI if it prompts human to intervene, and we can suggest to use a Whisper API. But here it actually worked out something else by itself. It said it make request to YouTube data API. I did not know even that's a thing. It probably is. So by executing the above code and your API key and the video ID, you will be able to retrieve the title and description of the video. And then after a few rounds of exchange, it says, apologize for the error. It seems that response from YouTube data API does not contain the expect item keys, blah, blah. So let's see. Replace the video URL in the URL video you want to analyze. So again, the AI assistant is providing a piece of code to the user proxy agent. The question is whether the user proxy agent will carry out and execute the code and give us the result. Still going. Oh look, it might answer something. It has worked out you need a PyTube library to access the YouTube content. It's downloading the PyTube library. Oh, it got to the title. K.R. Nelson's secret to the long-term success. I apologize for the confusion. PyTube library, blah blah. The issue extracting the description of the video. Wow, look at that. You're actually using the YouTube transcript API. That's what I used. YouTube transcript API and got the video. Hello and welcome to the live wire market. I'm showing you. I've watched this video, so I know this is correct. So remember the bunch of code we have to do in the past just to get the Whisper working and get the transcript done and saved. With Autogen, you just need to type the task and it just went ahead and did it itself. Based on the transcript of the video, here is a summary. This is amazing. This is actually magical. Let's take a look at another example. Data visualization by group chat. Open that in the Colab. Let's see what this one's about. First, I have imported our config list from a desktop, which I made previously. You can see it's the same content, but when I imported, it had this extension, so I need to rename it, make sure it does not have .json behind it. Okay, so let's go through the code. First, we're gonna install our library. Now, in the endpoints, we're happy with this config 4. Let's look like new name, and you're gonna just pick up this GPT-4. You ignore the rest. It will only load whatever is in your config list. In this example, it will only load GPT-4, which should be called GPT-4 here. Now moving on, construction agent. Now, so this is looks like three agents scenario. This is us, human. Then you have three AI agents. User proxy, which is a representative of yourself. There's a critic that looks like it's gonna check the work of the coder. There's a multi-loop among them to work with each other. This is the config list. You can see using the seed as well, 42. User proxy. So the first agent is the user proxy agent. Then you have assistant agent, and you have another assistant agent, which now is named critic. Remember, so there's only two types of agents in Autogen. There's either going to be user proxy agent, and there is assistant agent, which is AI. But you can have as many user proxy agents as you want, and you can have as many assistant agents as you want, and you can call them differently, so you can refer them in the code. So in the system message, there is a definition of for the critic, your helpful assistant. I'm not going to read them all. Let's just run this. Got a name error. This list is not defined. So let's come back here and let's run this. We forgot to run it. Okay, so we'll run the construct agent. And next, that's the task. It's very simple. So this is how we initiate the chat. Now, it looks like it requires a internet access again. So you go to download data from this GitHub as a CSV file, plot a visualization that tells us the relationship between the weight and horsepower, save plot to a file, print fields in data field before visualizing it. So this is actually a quite useful scenario. A model GPT-4 does not exist, so it looks like I don't have access to GPT-4. So let's change it back to GPT-3. So again, you see I made no change to this config list with our models. And then back to the API point, I have commented out all the GPT-4 and I have made this GPT-3.5 alive and just using one model. I left other comments because that's the only model we have. And the next thing is to change that from the code. So if we go find it, here we go. I'm going to change that to GPT-3.5 because that's what we're going to use. And now let's run it. is not defined, of course. So we're gonna run this. So now it's gonna be GPT-3.5, and we're gonna run. Here you go. And let's start the chat. So this task requires the AI agent to go out to the internet, access this GitHub file, and plot a visualization based on the data in it. So let's see how it performs it. So start from the coder to the chat manager. No, actually starting from user proxy, which is we giving the instructions, right, to the chat manager. The managers manage the coder and the critics. So first we're giving the instruction, which is this one here, from the user proxy to the chat manager. And then the coder chimes in, says, hey, if we want to do that, we need to do this. There's a Python code, there's a URL. It's gonna be saved to the pandas frame. Let's see what happens next. So we already have an error that says timeout, and looks like default is only 60 seconds. So since it could be a quite complex task and required internet access is delayed, let's increase the timeout to 600. So let's back to the LLM config. Let's add request timeout is 600. So we define that. Run it. This time it should take a little bit longer to produce a result. Let's see. So first, looks like the user proxy, which is we giving the instruction to the chat manager that do that. That's exactly what's written here in the initiate chat message. Then the coder has worked out something, says to do the CSV file, we need to do using the wget command, and it start doing that. Great. Now let's proceed to load the data in the pandas data frame. And then it has a bit of code to load the CSV file to data frame. Keep working on it. Hasn't failed yet. If the file exists, please make sure the file name is spelled correctly. So you can see the idea of Autogen is all these AI agents that with different roles and different responsibilities can work out with each other and debugging the issues until it reaches the final goal that human has set. And because we increase the timeout, you can see it is still working out. It is still working away, hasn't failed yet. This group chat folder was created since we started running the code. So this is where all the files should go. Look at that. Panda data frame is not defined. Did you mean ID? So you can see the agent, the AI bots are talking to each other and try to work out the problem autonomously. Okay, the code has finally finished running. As you can see, it ended like this. Update the column, please execute update the code, blah, blah, blah. So it actually it have given you the code, but it hasn't run it, which means it did not create the image, the plot in the group chat folder. So if we run this following bit, display the saved figure. Of course, because there's no file under the group chat folder, there's nothing to display, right? So again, different result from the example, but something we could potentially tweak by changing the prompt a little bit to make sure it displays it in the code. But how about, let's just copy this code that you generated, see whether that's actually a working code, because we did not get any error this time. It actually had access to the CSV file. It didn't complain, it didn't have access, and it looks like it created something. So let's add a code block here, copy this code that generated for us from the manager, and let's run it. Here we go. It actually has produced exact same image. The relationship between weight and horsepower. Very good. Now, the example 2 is download data from here and show me a plot that tells me about the amount of each weather. Save the plot to a file, print field to a data field before visualizing it. So maybe the prompt is telling it to save to a file, but it wasn't able to. Let's try this again. See whether this time it will be able to save the file. So it looks like this weather CSV file has worked out a little bit better than actually worked better than the cars one. As you can see, the final message is from the critics to the manager that the code has executed successfully without errors. And you can see now it has completed its work and it has saved here. So you have the code that's saved here, which same as the one in the example, right? And then it even ran the code and created this weather distribution in Seattle. Ran some, I think it's similar to this one, weather distribution. So that's pretty good. The last example we want to have a look at is this automated complex task by group chat, 6 members and 1 manager agent. So after all, the Autogen framework is a multi-agent framework. So let's see how complex this one can get. So far seems like you can just get them to do anything you want. It doesn't matter if you have 1 agent, 2 agents, or 3 agents. You just give them the command and they will try to work it out themselves. Now at this example, we'll skip for all these. It's gonna be all the same. Let me set it up quickly. So first, let's install the library. Get rid of the common. Go install. And then the endpoint. I'm not gonna change this one to different names, so I don't have to change within the code. But in the model, I know we don't have these, so we're gonna use this GPD Turbo. Looks like it needs a model that with large token amount. Oops. Let's copy that and run that. Next, we're gonna construct agents. So again, these are pretty much the same standard. There's a timeout here, there's a cache value here, 42. Now, this is a complex scenario, so it defines lots of agents. Let's have a look one here. So the first one is admin, is a user proxy agent. A human admin interacts with the planner. So this one looks like a project manager. Then you have a team of engineers or different personnel working for you. You have a assistant agent called engineer. You have a assistant agent called scientist, planner, and you have another user proxy agent called executor. So notice all these user proxy agents. They all have system message to define them. This executor also has a human input mode to never. And then there's another assistant agent called critic. Double check the plan. So pretty much you have defined a bunch of agents. They're gonna work with each other with no human intervention. And you start by creating a group chat that imported all these AI agents and the user proxy agents. Let's run that. So here is a task from the example. Find papers on large language model application from the ARXIV website in the last week and create a markdown table of different domains. Now let's try something else. How about find papers on quantum computing applications in the last, it won't be that many papers like the LLM, so let's say last year, and create a markdown of different domains. Let's also make some investment recommendation for this area. And let's run it. So notice I had a wrong spelling with a quantum here, and then this is the instruction we provided, and straight away planner has created a plan and also corrected my wrong spelling, quantum computing. It made up a plan for everyone, for engineers to do, for scientists to do, and for scientists to do. So it's breaking down the tasks and allocate different jobs to different AI based on their role. And the admin agent came in and says, the plan looks good, please proceed. And then critic agent came in and says, the plan seems reasonable and well structured. The division of tasks between engineer and scientist is a clear, blah, blah, blah. So basically you've created many different AI agents within the same app, carrying different role. And I think the reason is because the large language model is so complex and so unpredictable. And you kind of need a very well-written prompt or instruction to tell them to do exactly that. So by breaking down like you could have said this to one LLM agent, just say, do that. And it will probably get somewhere. But breaking this task to multiple different agents, which is still powered by the exact same large language model, right? It's still powered by the GPT-3 or 4, but by giving everyone a different role, a different boundary, and make them to supervise or monitor their work with each other, it kind of guide large language model to produce a better output. And as you can see, they start working with each other, engineer to chat manager. Here is a beautiful soup library. This is the code you need to use to scrape the web content and keep working away. And it's already come to the end, I think. So this is the scientist to the manager. After reviewing the papers analyzing different domains in quantum computing, here are the investment recommendations for each domain. So it listed different domain, quantum algorithm, cryptography, machine learning, blah, blah. It listed 10 different domains and followed by some investment advice. Looks pretty decent. Now the critics chimed in and says, hey, this provider is well reasoned and cover a wide range. Overall, the scientist has done a good job. So it looks like it has done what we asked for among these group of AI agents. And again, it looks like it took a little bit longer than we expected and it timed out again. But as you can see, the final result is pretty good. It's already giving you all these recommendations that we asked for. And the last return from the app is critic to the chat manager. And that's what critics said. And the example from the GitHub is create another group chat without a critic for comparison. So if we run this, which I won't here, it will just be the same instruction but without the critics. And remember what the critics are is critics' role is to double check the plan. So I expect if you run that, they will be a little bit different from what we got from here. But just to save time, I won't run that again. So that's it, my friend. This is a quick introduction of Autogen. If you are interested, keep an eye on Microsoft's repository on GitHub for Autogen. It constantly gets updated. Next week, we will build a simple application using Autogen with VS Code. I will show you how easy it is to create a virtual environment and create our code with Python. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.